We're live. So we're live on my Facebook.
Are those yours? Those are yours.
Yeah, a little bit loud, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, it's mic check
All right, Jerry,
time at
good trick.
OK Corral. Close the store so no
Okay,
one
so
can
you got
hear us.
everybody but me in your live, which is fine.
Temperature
I can
will
be
go
off.
down to 22 degrees.
What? Good. Cool it down in here.
But you cool this up, Katie.
Yeah, you need some
There.
feminine
Cut Mark out.
energy. Cut me out.
Sorry, buddy.
Well, I'm still not there.
I love it.
If I'm right here, you can kind of see half my face.
I love it. Move it a little that way. Can you?
Which way? This
I
way?
mean,
Yeah,
I'm
where
watching
you're
a
in.
slide video.
Slide it to the right. There you go. There you go.
Who's first, Jerry?
Mark your
Me?
headphones. Your
Yeah,
headphones.
You need. Oh,
I can handle.
we're in trouble already. Am
Who's
I up
first?
first? Testing. It's Wednesday the 6th.
Check. Check, Jerry.
This is a new.
It's a
Hello.
Right,
It's
Tim.
just on a band.
Hello. I know it's just new for you, right?
No,
No.
I've had it for years.
All right. How many?
Tim,
how much are you walking?
test.
Depends on the day. I'm working
Did you hear him,
out
Jerry?
right now, so not a lot.
Okay.
2,000 a day, unfortunately.
Ramsey,
Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
speak.
Yes, sir. I am here. I'm excited to be here, even though you can't hear it in my voice.
Okay.
It's too early.
4 minutes, 20 seconds or something.
So I've got a discount. For, it's a One Life 1055
Okay.
for $75 off.
Is that for the conference?
Yeah.
How much is it?
Regularly $325, and with that code, it is for the next few days $250.
Yeah, he's doing the math. That's why I
Maybe
saw
we'll
it.
save it for the end and announce that at the end. You can tease it a little bit.
Ooh, we have a special
Special.
offering.
So just for listeners.
Yes, exactly.
Just for people on
And
on
everybody
this.
online who's already heard
Of
it.
course, there's sign up if you need.
If you're on Facebook Live right now with Timmy.
We've had some breaking announcements. We had a guest who thought he was off the air and told me
That he loved you.
his wife was pregnant, and it was cat's out of the bag.
It was on
Yeah.
Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Ah,
That's how she found out.
Whoops.
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's a joke. Yeah, I think she already knew. but-
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It was just not public information.
Yeah.
And I go, does
How-
anyone know? Why? Because you just said that on the internet. Oh.
Ah.
Whoops.
Mhm.
Going to meet the alarm company today, by the way.
For your house?
No, for your.
Oh, good, yeah.
Yeah.
I think of fire sprinklers.
Oh, okay.
Good.
So how is the show going?
Good. We had last week. We had a doctor of neuropathy on, talking about, or naturopathy. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
talking about naturopathic medicine, and we had on the YouTube video like 17 views, which is normally my YouTube video is like 2 views. So that was a huge week. So,
There you go, rock
yeah,
and roll.
Yeah,
Your audience is blossoming.
huge.
I
Yeah.
sent her a client already, too.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
And you CPA also?
I am.
And a
Not-
PHR.
No longer practicing CPA, but yes, I still am.
But you're not inactive, right?
Correct. Nope.
I'm a client of Katie's.
Yep.
Right
I
now.
found your guy yesterday, too, by the way.
You found the guy. The guy.
Mm-hmm.
New.
She my leadership team is like, are you sure about Katie? I'm like, just give her some time. Relax.
Are you sure about her?
Are you sure about her? I'm like, she's a badass. Just relax.
He's from Quincy, of course.
I love small
It's
towns.
gonna be
You know
great.
what? I think this is a common theme. This is one of the core, like, our leadership team. Everyone's from a small town.
Oh, really?
Like, I swear. And they work harder, less ego. They're more interested
It's 'cause we all
in
came-
contribution.
Broke.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like we're going school clothes shopping at Kmart once a year. We gotta drive all the way to Reno for that. So,
Yeah.
but I like it because it's not getting returned.
Yeah.
Yep.
No doubt.
There we go.
Kmart, nice.
Back in the day.
That's another one
Blue
that's
light
gone.
special, right?
Oh
Do you
no,
remember
they're still
Gray-
around.
No, Gray Reeds? Or is it gone by now?
What was it?
It was a department store. My parents bought me a pair of shoes when I was like 12 years old because I'd grown out of my old ones.
Oh.
And some kid threw one of the shoes down the Truckee River, brand new shoes, and it was screwed for the next month. Holy smelly shoes! So yeah, that left a mark.
Did you want to kill that kid afterwards or what?
Yeah, well, I wanted to kill my dad for not having money. Like I had to wait another month because he was a school teacher to get another pair of shoes. Yeah, but
That's
yeah.
how it was.
As I remember, the kid was like, I'm gonna pick him up and throw him like I'd pick you up and throw you. So it was
Awesome.
It was a good.
Well, I'll give you signals. So 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute. At the 1 minute mark, we're gonna want to start transitioning out so we can go to a clean break and then come back. So.
And she winks too. That's her other signal.
That's just me being tight. I just have something in my eye. Actually.
She likes
Just-
she's a winker.
Yeah.
If it happens
And-
a lot really fast, I'm actually having a
and-
stroke. So pay attention.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just got back from a full day at an orphanage, and we had 100 people doing a day of contribution. So all I want out of this is to thank those people that did that,
Cool.
and they're all live right now. So
That's
that's
cool.
the only get out of today.
Yeah. By the way, thanks for
Oh,
getting me.
guys.
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
Yep.
Here, I'm gonna put mine on.
Yeah. Where's your cans?
I don't know.
Good morning. Welcome to Beyond the Numbers on Money 105.5, Wednesday, September 6th. Katie McConnell here. Joining me is my co-host Mark Bellows.
Good morning, Katie. How are you?
Excellent.
Good. Hey, real quick, we both work for Clifton Larson Allen.
Right.
I'm a tax principal working with manufacturing distribution clients and real estate and construction, planning strategy, saving people money.
Hiring consulting practice leader over here, hiring away.
Yes, you've got
Recruiting
clients
and
that you're putting in position and even more that you're looking for.
yes, lots of activity going on right now. We actually expanded the team also, so have a new resource that she just started last week, so that's really exciting.
Congratulations.
Ramped up, ready to take on even more work.
Nice.
Yay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Business is good. Business is good for you. Business is good for us.
This is good.
Yes.
We have a couple of guests joining us this
We do.
morning.
Go ahead.
First of all, we have Daniel Ramsey, owner, president, founder, CEO of My Outdust.
Lots of times.
All of those things.
And client of Katie's.
And client.
Kind of
I'm
Katie's.
Yes.
excited
Yes.
to announce that.
That is
Thank you.
exciting.
Yes.
Yeah, we're
A
working
happy client, by the
We're
way.
working on some projects together, so.
Welcome back to the show.
Yeah,
you.
a veteran of the
A
show,
veteran, yes.
actually.
Yeah.
I knew how to get here today.
Yeah.
There you go.
They were in the studio first before Katie and I
Oh
were.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
scary.
Yeah, I know.
Right on, and you just got back from the Philippines last night.
I did. Really excited. We had our annual conference there, 700 folks in a hotel, and we just had a day of contribution at an orphanage. So we had fun, and I'm excited because my buddy Timmy is here, and we are just soul partners when it comes to contribution and giving back. So I'm excited to bring him in and introduce you guys.
All right, well, Tim, welcome to the show.
Tim Rhode, welcome.
Hey, thanks Mark and Katie for having me on. Thanks for arranging this, Daniel. And I'm excited to talk about our nonprofit, One Life Fully Lived, and the good things we're doing out in the community.
And funny story, but we just found out that we have kind of a common link. We're both small town country bumpkins.
Woohoo! Plymouth County.
There you go, just up the street from where my
Wait, now
folks
how
live.
small? Quincy.
Quincy's
Just how
about
big?
5,000 people, 2 stoplights.
How about
he
you,
comes
Tim?
from the big city.
2017 in booming Portola, California.
That's it.
Which has some great,
Yeah.
some great golf courses.
So we
by the
had
way.
a rivalry though, the
Okay.
Portola and the Quincy High School. They would always paint our Q purple, and then our high school would sneak up to there and paint their P red. Yeah.
Wow,
Good
yeah,
stuff.
because how about you?
I'm from Reading, which is
That's a little.
it's still a
bigger.
small town,
It's
but
small.
when I grew up, there was 25,000 people. It was really the big town. I mean, because
Yeah.
we didn't have a rivalry with either of yours.
We don't have a Starbucks. That's how
Yeah.
small it
That
is.
is small. I'm
Yeah.
from a town called Escondido down in San Diego County.
Yeah.
We had 3 high schools when I grew up, so
Oh,
we were
boy.
not that small, but not big. So
So Tim, let's talk a little bit about your organization.
So OneLifeFullyLived.org is a nonprofit 501c3. We formed it in 2011 because we found too many people weren't living lives of purpose and passion. And that's why we started One Life Fully Lived. and now it's grown over 6 years, slowly, organically. And I look at this almost like a counterculture where people are tuned in, turned on, and living full, amazing lives for the most part.
And you are founder, executive director, CEO.
Yeah,
Yeah.
founder,
All
executive
hats.
director, CEO,
Marketing manager.
yeah, we've grown into a small team.
Okay.
Yeah, but we have 2 conferences every year. We're doing our 10th conference we've done in Sacramento at the Rancho Cordova Marriott, October 21st and 22nd. You could get more information at onelifefullylived.org. And it's an amazing conference. We bring in these tremendous presenters from all over the world. Daniel's one of them that have crafted exceptional lives based on who they are. And our motto is dream it, plan it, live it. And our thought process is,
Which is on Tim's shirt.
It is for those watching online right now.
It looks like on one of your bracelets.
oh yeah, I got One Life Fully Lived on the bracelet.
Dream, plan, live.
And our thought process is everybody has a dream. Few have a written plan for their dream, and unfortunately, precious few are actually living their dream.
Sure.
And like you said, written plan.
Yeah.
Not just, I got this plan in my head but part of having a written plan, I think, and part of what I think is a success, and we'll talk about a little bit, is being accountable.
Right.
And when it's written, you can be more accountable than when it's in your head. Like SMART goals, for instance, right? So,
Well, what's funny about that is Tim and I are actually accountability partners.
Right.
And so we've shared our written goals, and then we hold each other accountable to actually creating action around them. And I think that's something that's just unique in the world.
So you guys are accountability partners through a particular
Organization. Yeah, a men's group, and it's really awesome. It's made up of basically entrepreneurs, and Tim's version of that is like the beginner's guide to that group. And
Yeah, so what One Life does, the other group's called Go Abundance, and it's a mastery level of One Life Fully Lived. And what One Life teaches people is, who am I at my core? What's my dream? What's my written plan? How will I fund it? And how will I be holistically healthy to pull off this magnificent life I was put here to live?
Now, you mentioned real quick, you had said 2 conferences. So you do the one here in Sacramento, 10th year, and then where's the other conference?
The other conference is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Okay. And
Yeah.
how often have you?
The city
how long have you
of
been doing
brotherly
that?
love.
The
Yes.
city of brotherly love. We've done.
When they throw snowballs at Santa. They're booked
Exactly.
away.
That's love.
Well enough for that.
Showing Santa some love.
That's right.
Yeah, so my good friend Mike McCarthy helped us move it back east, and we've done 3 conferences there. And each area, well, actually people come from all over America, all over the world, and we've grown this slowly, organically, with everybody that's come into the community gets the vibe. It's the One Life vibe. It's kind of like you put the oxygen mask on you, figure out who am I, how am I going to go after it, and then you help your family, friends, the community, and now we're taking this into the inner cities and helping those that most need our message get these valuable life skills.
We're talking with Tim Rhodes from One Life Fully Lived. If you want to call into the show, maybe you have a question for Tim or for Daniel, 866-576-1055, as in money 105.5, 866-576-1055. When we get back from the break, I'd love to hear a little bit more about your background. You must have an interesting story as far as how you came from Portola of all places, and
well, and you look like someone who's been around in business for more than 10 years, so
Right.
And
have
he
some
means that
experience
as a
before that.
compliment.
Of course,
Yeah.
a wizened.
I'm sporting the gray.
That's when you know you've made it, when someone says, "You look like you've been in business a long time."
I think you just said you look old.
Thank you.
No, not at all.
Mature, seasoned.
I'm trying to build up the excitement for when we come back from the break to hear about Tim's background.
Yes, so we will be right back on Money 105.5 Beyond the Numbers.
So is that kind of like don't talk?
Was I not close?
Like
Well,
when
you
he's talking,
move a
make
little
sure I
bit, and
know.
so it's cutting in.
Which one?
But
Oh,
you can't hear
kind of like.
Oh, I was going to say something commercial.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was trying to lead us out.
Is there a drawer over there? Or is it
Is there a drawer? No, there's a bunch of equipment.
Okay.
What do we need?
I was hoping for another set of cans.
Oh,
There you
yeah,
go.
there's just,
There are no cans.
There are no cans.
Negative.
3 cans.
it
and
says
yeah.
there's a button here that says don't touch. So
Well,
I
you
will,
want it.
I'll take keep. So I wanted
It's
to,
like candy for a little kid,
I
right?
know, I was like,
what is this?
I gotta touch it. There's a reason I say don't touch, so I gotta find out
Yeah.
what that reason is.
Yeah.
we'll talk about your background and your story. Would you be open to doing kind of like a little trial, like I'll demo with, okay, I have something I want to dream, and like walk me through a little bit of your plan, or is it more of a
No. Whatever.
bigger process?
If you guys want, he's got great stories that he probably won't tell, and if you wanted to say, I'd like to just share a couple of them that are really
Yeah.
fun.
Let's
Cool.
do background sample, and then in second
Yep.
to last segment, we'll do success stories.
Sure,
Because then
that
I
sounds
also
good.
want to talk about
Well, he'll do
learning
the success
experiences or
stories
kind
better.
of a failure and how you've learned and grown
Right.
from that.
And one thing I'd love to touch on is our Dare to Dream program. That's
Yeah,
for the
absolutely.
inner city kids,
Yeah.
and that's the day before the conference.
And the why.
Well, and you mentioned that a little bit as you're
Yeah.
talking about Philly, so
Yeah.
I think that's good
You've
to go
got to
into
say
that.
why. So our
Know your why.
well, schools teach people to be employees, college,
Right.
whatever.
Yep.
His program teaches them to be whatever they want it to be.
Fulfillment.
I want
Yeah,
that's our.
that's a
our
soapbox for me because we don't teach life skills, so I
Mhm.
can jump
Yeah,
all of
it's a
that.
great idea.
What I kind of want to grill you a little bit because you hear a lot of this stuff and it's. Are we back already? Okay.
Blah.
It's like,
Sugar.
oh, dream it. Okay, I'm gonna be a millionaire and have a Lamborghini and blah blah blah. But
30
how do
seconds.
you? 30
How do you
seconds?
get there?
Yeah, or
Written plan.
Do you have a story of a kid who's converted their lives that's around this, a young guy?
and I'm talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
being
yeah,
realistic
exactly,
too, and setting
exactly.
realistic goals so that you don't go from I work at McDonald's to I'm in
Quitting
a
your
Lamborghini
job.
in 6
Yeah.
months, and being realistic about how you achieve that to be taken seriously.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's not kumbaya. We're back.
Just the hair as a filter.
The hair's a lot of things. And we're back on Money 105.5 Beyond the Numbers. Katie here.
Mark here. Welcome back, everyone. We've also got our guests today, and we were talking a little bit with Tim about having these conferences and
The One Life Fully Lived.
One Life Fully Lived conferences. And you mentioned in Philly, and you said something about the inner city. You want to expand on that a little bit about what you guys do the day before the conference?
Sure. So our conference in Sacramento is October 21st and 22nd, but on October 20th, we're bringing in these amazing people that help people that need it the most, and we're bringing in my friend Will Little, who's a street poet from Philly. We're flying him in here. He actually went to prison for murder for 10 years. For the last 20 years, he's been on the streets of Philly talking gang violence and just teaching kids not to be a knucklehead like he was. And Will and a few others are going to be at this Dare to Dream event for middle school, high school kids, just helping them do the Dream It, Plan It, Live It program and have them think out of the box and not listen to what everybody's telling them, but to think for themselves of who am I and where am I going with all of this. And we did this for the first time back in Philadelphia in May. We got rave reviews. I had a lady call me Monday morning and say, who the heck are you guys? My 12-year-old daughter was running around all weekend so fired up about her life. She showed me her plan of how she's going to go after what she wants in life. And then she said, who in the heck are you guys?
That's great. That's great
So
story.
who are you? Where are you?
Yeah.
Great question.
Exactly.
Good question.
Nice follow-up.
Tell us a little bit about
So the reason I have such a passion for helping people figure out who they are is I had no clue who I was when I first started out. My mom had asked me, Timothy, where do you see yourself in 5 years when I was 18? I said, Mom, there's a party this weekend. I hope to get a buzz and I hope to get lucky. And beyond that, I really couldn't tell you. And that was my idea of long-term planning at the time. I woke up at 25 years old. I'm a part-time grocery clerk painting addresses on people's curbs to buy diapers for my small kids at the time. And
So you're one of the guys that would knock on the door and say, hey, for whatever, $10, I'll paint the...
yeah, I said I'm working in conjunction with the Tracy Fire Department till I got the cease and desist. But
Which is funny because we have a lot of entrepreneurs on the show, and many of them started in door-to-door
Right.
sales. We had someone that was selling outdoor trellises,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Yep.
I
No-
sold candy bars.
It's kind of a common
Yeah.
theme.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, no better training. So then I found my niche selling real estate around 26 years old. I was really focused. I was focused on getting somewhere. I never knew why I was so strong on becoming financially free, but I worked really hard. I listed and sold about 15 to 20 homes every month. The thing I
Wow.
did different was I lived way within my means, and that was something I wanted to touch on.
Yes, please.
And it helped me to retire financially free by 40. And I was a ski bum for 10 years. And then I looked up and saw, just how difficult all my friends were having. And it was during the downturn around 2008. And that's when we started One Life Fully Lived.
So where were you a ski bum at? Were you in Portola?
Yeah, I was in Portola, Tahoe area. I like to backcountry ski,
Yeah.
climb mountains, and it, I like. It's kind of like the E-Myth talks about working on your business, not in your business.
We talk about that every week on
Yeah,
the show.
we do, yeah.
Well, One Life's the E-Myth for your life. It's working on your life, not in your life. If you think about it, it's taking a step outside and thinking, asking yourself the big questions of who am I, what's my dream, and how am I going to make it all happen?
Did you find yourself asking those questions at somewhere along that 10-year ski bum period, or was it after that, or what?
Well, by then I had developed, like I'd already moved up to Portola, and we live in a mountain. It's only
He's being way too humble. So he sold his business at 40, a
Right.
real estate business.
Right.
And I've seen some of his videos and one of his old commercials. He's in this structure and he's like a real estate guy. He's like, I'll do anything for my clients and I'll sell your home fast. And then he jumps out of and does a bungee jump and he's dressed in a suit. This guy, he had his life figured out early. And I think that's what One Life is about, is helping as many people as possible figure their life out in an early process before it's too late or before they're too gone. And Tim's crazy good at what he does.
So you kind of had the idea, if you will, the genesis of One Life Fully Lived before, or during, you kind of grew during your life. It sounds like your life up to that point of when you started it.
Yeah, I believe in incarnations or chapters of your life. And there was the lovable loser, the real estate guy, the investor, the ski bum, and then it was the give back. And they say the great ones spend the first third of their lives kind of figuring things out, the second third earning and securing their future. And if you're wise, you spend the last third helping humanity. And that's where I'm at.
So it seems like you've kind of got two types of folks in the market. You've got the folks that hear you and go, wow, I need a plan. I need to have it all figured out. I'm really interested. Tell me more about the conference. And then you have the other type, and I'll put myself in this bucket. Hey, I feel like I kind of have a plan, man. I was up early. I had something in the crock pot. I had my protein shake on the way to work. I'm good.
I'm good. I got the plan.
Yeah, I don't need this, right?
And we hear that so often of, hey, I'm good. I got everything figured out. If you think about it, Katie, I'll bet there's something you're working on. Everybody has what's the next thing. And that's one beauty of One Life is it's holistic. No matter what that one thing is, we have somebody that's an expert in that field or a group of them that this is their jam, if you will.
So are we give me an example. So I want to get more brass tacks here. So maybe a work-life balance, or I want to spend more time focusing on self-care or working out, or are we just talking business maximization and financial maximization?
Well, let me give you a personal example.
Great.
I've recently become more spiritual and gotten into meditation, and gotten into going deeper and figuring out how to co-create with our Creator. And there's a lady who's going to be speaking at our conference, Janai Lane. She's my spirit coach. She's amazing. She wrote a book called Spirit Led Instead. And that was a piece that I'm working on, that in the last 2 years I've gone to a whole new level. I think I got the business part figured out, the finances, I've raised kids,
Do we ever get the business part figured out?
Well,
Yeah, good question.
I think what he's doing is most people don't have a peer group, and so when you go to One Life, you'll get, regardless of what level you're in, you're gonna see somebody on stage who's probably at a higher level. I know he had the founder of Priceline, and so for me, I'm a business guy.
Wait, that's not William Shatner?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
He's just
Live long and prosper.
Yeah.
So regardless of, and Janai is a great example. She's kind of in the spirit world, kind of in like, I don't know, if you want to find yourself, get more in tune with who you are as a person and kind of drive like, you know, just creating a better life. She's great. So whatever you're doing in life, One Life is like, there are people up there that are exceptional at that. And so you get to see them and they inspire, and then that helps you kind of go, oh, that's the path that I'm supposed to be on. And it's like that across a lot of different genres, right?
Yeah, a lot of the people in our community are making a good living, but they haven't figured out that it's not what you make, but what you do with what you make, and how to invest wisely. And we have all these young people in their 20s that are well on their way to financial freedom. You spoke of Matt Aitchison.
Yeah.
Matt's a great example of, he's got 4 or 5 businesses and probably 15 income streams coming in. And there's a number of these people under 30 that are just crushing it.
Yeah, and so that, like you said, it's kind of a holistic approach. So it's not just the work, or it's not just the health, or it's not just the spirituality, but it's all of that.
Right, and what's really cool is our format. So the weekend is centered around Dream It, Plan It, Live It. And everybody walks out with a written game plan of where am I going to be a year from now, 5 years from now. People at a mastery level are looking, where am I going to be 20 years from now? You also get accountability partners, new people that come into your world that may be a master of the next thing you're particularly working on that can help you get there. By the way, there's no upselling. This isn't one of those conferences.
Sign up for friends.
Yeah. This isn't that, or you know, there's tables at the back where we got the next product we're selling you. The only thing we're selling there is you believing in you and taking your life to another level. I've gone to conferences that I think ours is better than, that I paid $5,000 for, and our conference is only $325 right now. And we have a special offer for 105.5 listeners.
All right.
Yes, which we'll get to later.
We'll share.
A teaser.
Yeah.
So you mentioned accountability partners. So maybe let us know a little bit how that works, because you guys are accountability partners to each other. So maybe, like, is it frequent communication? Do you meet together? Do you call each other on your own stuff, etc.?
It's a huge principle that goes all the way back to our founding fathers. I mean, if you see the most successful people in the history of the world, they typically have a peer group, men that they get together with, if you're a man or a woman, and peers.
Call peeps.
Yeah, peeps. Where you actually hold each other accountable. You say, well, and the beauty of this, it's not like harsh. It's like, what's your goals, Tim? Okay, your goal is to throw an amazing conference. What are you doing about that? What does that action look like? What are some of the challenges and obstacles you're facing? And then, you know, he shares those, and then we reassess, like, what's your next steps, and what do you think you need to do? What are the resources that are missing? And you know, you'll get in a room like this, maybe there's 5-6 guys, and Tim shares what he's up to and what he's challenged with and what his next steps are, and then everybody will give him feedback and then pull their resources to support his dream.
Right.
And that's just rare, especially in our society. I don't really know very many people that do that.
I referred to us before, we're almost like a counterculture, and if you remember the game when we were kids, A Barrel of Monkeys, that's what it is. You're lifting a monkey up while somebody's lifting you up. And Daniel and I go back to the accountability piece. Daniel's helped me immensely with this nonprofit because he knows that's where my heart is. A couple years ago, Daniel was having some physical challenges of being in the best shape he can possibly be and in giving back. And we kind of called him out on it in a friendly, loving way, almost like a friend poking you. And Daniel's done amazing things in that area.
And actually, that's a big deal for energy and like what you're doing. But the biggest thing that Tim's done and the group has done, and Tim did this himself, is when we first met, he's like, "Hey, what are you doing to give back?" Because I mean, honestly, if it wasn't about business or money or our company, I wasn't doing much. And Tim challenged me to do that.
Great segue into the break. When we get back, I want to hear more about those successes.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll be back on Money 105.5.
Nice.
I love it.
This is fun.
This is Katie.
I wasn't paying attention, and he.
Whoa! I
talk
thought you were
about
knuckling me.
talk
I'm
about
still not doing it.
accountability.
No, but you were trying to get it up higher, so.
Well, he-
We had someone on the air
I'm
one time
always
who tried
trying
that
to-
and it fell down and it was pretty
I'm
funny.
always trying to. Anyways. Are we online?
Oh, yeah.
Facebook.
It doesn't count.
It's on the internet and it's permanent forever. It counts.
Yeah.
Oh, can I delete it? I can edit that, right?
Oh, Whitney's got a great
No,
sense of.
I think
Whitney.
maybe.
Beautiful Whitney.
So we're transition. Let's see. We have one more long segment and then a wrap segment.
Yeah.
A wrap.
Okay.
Yeah, dude. The biggest thing that when we first met, I had nothing contribution, and then you said, Daniel, you have to give back, and I was like, crap, I got to give back. Okay, what do I want to do? And then I started being a wrestling coach. This will be my 3rd year, and we've had probably 200 kids come through the program, and it's just, it's changed me.
Yeah.
Are you willing to talk about the funding side of things as far as
Sure.
how you get money, how you get paid?
But that's the way I've.
Paid?
Yeah, he hasn't
Hey,
been
and
paid.
real quick-
I've never taken a dime.
Good.
It's all.
Mention
it's
that.
all,
In fact, we need to work
Yeah.
on getting
Yeah.
more money.
By the way, we have kids at the conference. I didn't talk about that. There's
Yeah, I
a thing
wanted
called
to ask
One
about
Life.
demographic as
One
far
Life
as
Next Gen.
what your target audience is.
So let's talk about that some. And you mentioned levels.
Right.
Now, are there levels within your organization,
One Life
or
is
it
a-
just like
is a
the
starter.
generic? Or not
It's
generic,
kind of
right?
like GoBundance is healthy, wealthy, generous men who love to.
But
Live epic lives.
it's
Thank you.
not like certain other organizations where you get to the next level by
Yeah, there is. I mean-
paying such dollars, and then you get to the next level. I mean,
It's not just dollars, though. That's what's beautiful about this group. One Life is the starter group. GoBundance is like the mastery, and then there's a mastery group above that.
Uh-huh.
And those are the 3 levels that we kind of roll in. And
But very few people that are in One Life join GoBundance. It's just more of an elite club.
Mhm.
But One Life is GoBundance's charity of choice.
Okay.
So yeah.
because it's One Life is the principles that we live and die by,
Right.
but they're mass marketed. They're for normal average folks
Yeah.
that want a different world.
And the demographics is people for that's the challenge is I want to help everybody, like kids, inner city, old people, everybody, and it makes it, usually you have this tight group you're going after, and my heart's just too big, and we'd do better if I was better at just dialing it in, because it's hard to figure out what the hell you guys do. Dare to Dream, Next Gen, One Life.
So, we on? Are there other organizations like yours? I mean, what are some? Are there similar ones out there?
Not a nonprofit.
There is absolutely
I
nothing
know
like
no
this
other
out there.
nonprofit like ours.
In fact,
Yeah.
there's no other. One Life is unique. GoBundance is unique. I mean, I searched
Yeah.
for this.
And we're legit. We don't like GoBundance isn't about making money. It was 3 knuckleheads who were a mastermind that turned into 6, that turned into 15. Now there's 175 of us. It just got written up in Forbes. One other thing I want to say is the day before the Dare to Dream, we're doing a thing called a Magical Mystery Tour. We're going to school. We're going to probation department.
Too much.
Yeah.
Stick with,
that's
stick
the
with the
eight.
Dare to Dream. Stick
Okay,
with One
thanks,
Life
Dan.
Conference. I don't even know what
I'm-
that is.
Yeah. Sorry.
I can't help it.
This is the end of my commercial. Sorry, fire
You're
alarm.
good.
We're good. We have a little time.
You freak us out.
I'm just trying to pay attention because I wasn't before, and I got the tap.
The
And
tap?
I got the tap in my
By
head.
Jerry?
Mhm.
Mm.
Now we're back.
And we're back on Money 105.5 Beyond the Numbers.
Big
Mark and
bucks.
Katie here.
Big bucks. Good morning, everyone.
866-576-1055 if you want to give us a jingle this morning.
And if people want to get a hold of our guest today, it's been Tim Rhode. If people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
OneLifeFullyLived.org, you said?
OneLifeFullyLived.org. If you send an email to there, it goes directly to me, or you can reach out to me directly at tim@timrode.com. Rhode is spelled RHODE.
Tim@timrug.com or onelifefully-lived.org.
There you go.
Good, good.
Or if you want to go to the conference, check out the website.
Yes, and what's the date of the conference again coming up?
It's October 21st and 22nd at the
Excellent.
Rancho Cordova Marriott.
And you said that's a weekend, right? A Saturday,
Yes.
Sunday? There
Yes.
you go.
Nice, nice.
Squeeze it in around your work
Yeah.
schedule.
So how many people will you have?
We'll have around 300 there.
Okay.
Yep.
And so everyone's going to leave with a written plan.
Yep. They'll it's divided into 3 basic segments. Figuring out your dream, having a written plan, and what's your deployment plan.
And again, being holistic, the dream is not necessarily, I mean, it could be, but it's probably lots of things, right? For one person, it might be, my dream is to retire in 5 years. Another person's dream might be, I want to give back to the community. Another person's dream might be, I need to lose 15 pounds. I mean, I don't know, right?
It's whatever your dream is. It's whatever your dream is.
But it
yeah.
covers a lot of things, because as you mentioned, it's a holistic approach. It's not just make money.
There's people from all ages. We actually have a thing called Next Gen going on during the conference, so you can bring your kids and have your 4-year-olds to 14-year-olds just start on this process of figuring out, where am I going with all this? And then let's just take a few examples. Maybe a young lady looks up and she's 32 years old and figures out, man, this is harder than I ever thought. I'm working, my husband's working, our refrigerator just went out, our car broke down, we're planning for our retirement. Mom and Dad just called and they need help. Help! What do I do? And so people become aware of us. Maybe you're 50 years old and the kids are about to fly the coop, and you're trying to figure out what's our next step. Where are we going with all this? So oftentimes during your life, there's this what's in front of me? What's the next big thing I'm working on? So we find it really beneficial to anybody, whether you're just starting out with all of this, you think you're doing really well, or you're crushing it, and maybe you might want to come be on our leadership team.
So you said you're a 501c3,
Yes.
so not for profit.
Yeah, we're literally not for profit. I've started this in 2011. I've never taken a dime. I've got to get better at getting sponsors and having people help us. Daniel here is helping me to ask more, and I think we're very, very worthy because like our Dare to Dream program, where we're helping these inner city kids, learn skills that really maybe no one's ever talked to them before.
Do you have a success story of how you've made an impact on an inner city youth?
Yeah, so there's been a number of them, but our buddy Gonzalo Corzo, as an example, his older brother came to our conference, and Gonzalo was about 20 years old and just kind of trying to figure stuff out. And he came to our conference, saw this unique ecosystem that exists, saw these other young people just crushing it. Somebody that's already making it took him under his wing, had him as an employee, made him his partner. And the last time I looked up, Gonzalo's, I think he's 23 now. He's got like 5 income streams, owns 3 or 4 rentals. And he went from nothing to way something in 3 short years.
So I want to challenge you with something, because I hear a lot of crushing it equals making a lot of money, success equals multi-income streams. And that's not necessarily how everybody defines success. Some people define success as, I want to raise a family and be a stay-at-home mother doing a good job raising a family. And that's their definition of crushing it.
And what's beautiful about his conference is there's a huge community about being really great parents. And there's a lot of people that come to his conference that are wholly focused on homeschooling their kids or being epic fathers or great mothers. And so if that's part of what you want to accomplish, there are people inside the community who have mastered that, and not like fake mastered, but they're living it and doing it, and they're on stage and they're speaking. So if your world is, look, I want to be a great father, which is something that I'm focused on, there's through his community, there's a couple people that suggested some books, and I've just read one. It was hugely impactful, and now I have a date night with my 2 daughters once a week, which is awesome. And I wouldn't have heard about that if it wasn't for the community. Another example is one of my friends. He takes his kids out once a year for just a daddy-father trip, or a daddy-daughter trip. And once a year they travel somewhere where she wants to go. He's got 3 daughters, and they do that. And so money is a big part of it, because once you're financially free, you can give back and you can do really good work. But if you're not wholly focused on that, you can get other
well,
things.
and I think Tim's a testament to it doesn't have to be money motivated in order to be able to give back.
Right.
Maybe you have a sustainable farm. There's a couple in ESAC that's doing that, and they're giving produce away.
Nice.
That's a way to give back locally to the community without a financial dollar tied to it.
But I do want to say the financial piece is really important. I had a lady call me and she said, well, this is great, all the stuff you guys are doing, but what are you doing to solve global warming? And it kind of threw me back for a sec, and I went, we don't work on that, but what we do is empower people like you that this is your passion. How are you going to solve global warming if you're living in mom's basement broke? You're not much good.
Or you're in debt. Or you're in debt and you have credit cards and car loans, and you're working a job and you can never get ahead, and so the conference is gonna help sharpen your edge to figure out what direction you want to have in life. And I just think that's missing in our society. It's missing in our schools, it's missing in our colleges, and his organization is the only one I've ever known about that actually creates that plan for you or helps you create that plan.
And you talk about getting accountability partners. So do people, how does that happen at the conference? Do you somehow get put together in groups and decide at that point, or?
Yeah, it happens organically.
Okay.
We have main sessions where they'll first of all teach a concept, then we have you write about it, then you get in small groups and talk about it, and then we have large shares, and then we have these breakout sessions that are everything from health and fitness to beginning finances to investing wisely to all over the map, and that's where you may have just seen Jeff Hoffman, the founder of Priceline, on the main stage, and the next thing you know, you're sitting at lunch with a freaking billionaire, and that's you don't see that every day for $325 for 2 days. We free lunch both days. Have a dinner on Saturday night, all included in the price. It's amazing.
So do you miss selling real estate?
Not in the least. No,
It's a good time to be in real estate.
Yeah. Well, all you out there, keep on
Keep
plugging.
doing it.
Yeah, but at 40, I sold my last house, and every chapter I've ever closed, it's kind of like, okay, done with that. What's next? And that's one life fully lived, is figuring out what's your next incarnation and quit talking about it. Make it happen.
And I think the giving back is a big piece of what we can do. And I've found ways in my life to give back, which more than just, it's to Katie's point, more than just financial, but financial affords the opportunity a lot of times.
Absolutely.
To
well, as Daniel mentioned,
But
the way you're giving back is not
as a coach, right, for wrestling.
Well, yeah, so I started coaching because of Tim, but even our business now, we've created a vision for the future that involves charity and giving back.
It's being
Myotis, yeah. Part of what we do is we extend the movement, and so that's where I organize all of our folks and do massive work around the world, and that is creating a lot of stability in our business. So this idea of contribution and charity work actually can be financially pretty good too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, as you mentioned, you just spent a day working on an orphanage in the Philippines.
Yeah, we are excited. We're breaking ground on a home for old folks. They're actually living out in like a tent kind of thing, and so we're building them 8 different dormitories, which is going to house about 20 folks. And we were able to break ground and had a little get together and did the chicken dance.
Yeah, got that on video, man?
I do, with like an 80-year-old woman pulls me aside and says, "Let's do it." And I'm like, okay.
We actually got a wedding to go to this Saturday, and I'm dreading if they're going to do
the chicken dance. We can practice later, man. I got all the moves.
Wait, you and Katie should do it on Facebook Live.
Oh,
I'm in.
so early in the morning. Jerry would have to pull the music, but maybe our lead out for the show today. So. We will be heading to commercial shortly, but if you want to call in during the last segment and reach us, maybe you have a question for Tim or Daniel or for Mark and I, 866-576-1055. So we'd love to hear from you.
We're talking with Tim Rhode of OneLifeFullyLived.org.
All right.
And
we will be right back.
Bang, bang. You guys are killing it.
You guys are good.
We're seasoned professionals.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. The 1 week that you weren't here, I
Yeah.
was getting I had tripod up
Yeah.
and I was streaming, and I was getting messages like, the camera's screwed up, but I didn't know what was wrong, so I went over there and I was like trying to adjust it. Well, my shirt had like fallen down and the camera is like shooting right down my shirt while I'm like, what's wrong with it? Is it better? And recorded the whole thing. It was so bad.
Classic.
I think we had the most ratings ever.
I was gonna say, probably the highest rated show, you know.
Maybe you should lead out with that.
Oh,
You know?
gosh.
I didn't know, and then a few people were
Message you?
messaging me like, hey.
That's awesome.
Katie.
Katie, who should he talk to next? You know everybody.
Are you talking about
She's
for
the most connected.
sponsorship? Or-
3 things. Connections for Dare to Dream, schools that need it the most, middle school, high school, service groups that could bring, 5 to 50 people for our Friday at the Rancho Cordova Marriott. And it's gonna be really good. We did-
Kids.
Yeah, we did it in Philly.
I'm not really down with kids.
And then sponsors, like My Outdesk did 5,000. We have as little as $250 to sponsor a kid to go to the Dare to Dream.
Mm.
And then other press.
My nephew, who's like 19 or 20, I asked him, hey, what are you doing in life? I'm bringing him to the conference because he's doing nothing in life.
Well, good
We're
example.
good still. Are you meeting with Patrick Hardison?
I left him a message. I didn't see anything.
Okay.
So
Well, he's really dialed in with Hardison PR and younger guy, so he'll be able. And then I told you Metro Edge, Roosevelt Ignite, Folsom Young Professionals. Get dialed in with all
30
those.
seconds.
okay.
Oh,
30 or 3?
Go back and look at that.
what's our wrap up? We're doing the coupon code, plug in the conference one more time.
Coupons one more time. Coupon code.
I want to ask you about a failure that you've
Yeah.
had.
Yep.
A what?
Failure.
Oh, you're
me
ready.
personally?
Oh, you've had one.
Yeah, he's choosing.
Yeah.
Radio. Okay.
Chicken dance.
And we're back on Money 105.5 Beyond the Numbers. A little chicken dance going on in the
Nice.
studio this morning. It's too early for me to flap my wings, man.
Never too early. Come on.
Those wings don't come out till 9:15. Yes.
Only fangs early on.
Whoa!
Fangs and horns.
Talons.
Yeah, all of those. They don't let me have sharp objects in here either.
That's a probably good thing. It's probably
I'm
good
too
thing.
accident prone. Mark and Katie here. We are talking with Daniel Ramsey of My Outdesk and his accountability partner and our special guest today, Tim Rhodes of One Life Fully Lived. Talking about the conference coming up, October, don't tell me, 21st, 20th and 21st.
21st and 22nd.
Dang,
Rancho
okay.
Cordova Marriott. And so
21st
for our
and
listeners, what's the code that gets them a discount?
One Life 1055. No dot.
Oh, as in Money 105.5.
Yeah, so if you put in One Life 1055, you'll get a discount.
Yep. The number One Life.
The
number
number
one.
Number 1 Life 1055.
Special discount for our listeners
Yes.
today.
Yes.
Awesome. I always love a good discount. I love a
Absolutely.
sale.
Absolutely.
It's a good opportunity. The more you buy, the more you save.
Yes. And so you are also actively looking for students for the day before, right? As
Yeah,
well?
yeah, we're looking for, if you run a service group or have contacts at a middle school, high school, that we're really looking to get the underserved there. We did this in Philly, and it was just amazing response from the kids and the faculty of the people that came to that. So
Sure.
Good, good.
Awesome.
So if any of our listeners have a thought on that, they can get a hold of Tim at the number onelifefullylived.org or Tim at timrode.com. RHODE.
yeah, also looking for sponsors for that Dare to Dream program. We figure it costs us $250 for every kid that comes. We will give you a special shout out at our conference on the 21st and 22nd. And that Dare to Dream for the middle school and high school kids of Sacramento is on October 20th.
So the Friday before the conference.
Right.
Got it. So one of the things I always like to ask our entrepreneurs on the show is a failure in learning experience.
But mine are both opportunities that I had in the palm of my hand and didn't take.
Oh, good.
One was a property on Highway 99. I used to sell real estate in Manteca, and I owned this property for about 10 years. I sold the property, and about 6 months after I sold it, a beautiful new billboard popped up there, and I had taken back a note on the property when I sold it, and I asked the guy who bought it from me, I just got to know, how much did that billboard cost, and what's it bringing in a month? It cost him $65,000, and it brought in $2,500 per side. So he paid for it like 8 months. And so, of course, my lovely wife Tina, every time we drove by there, hey, didn't we used to own that?
Yeah.
When did that billboard go up there? Boy, I'll bet that was a great idea. Why didn't we think of that? So, yeah.
And your takeaway from that as a learning experience, as we always talk about the failure as an opportunity to learn and grow.
Yeah, it's to step back and look at as they teach in real estate school, highest and best use of a property. And this was something I already had units on there, and I just didn't think of how to plus it. So
It's good. It's a good.
So maybe that's the
opportunity
lesson.
there.
Everything in life, look at ways to plus it.
yeah, you got something sitting that you think you're maximizing, and I think the units were kind of rough. And so they didn't net a lot of money, and that billboard would have been pretty easy money. So.
Well, and I think kind of analogize that is sometimes we can get so focused on the trees that we don't see the forest. Is that the
Right.
right analogy?
Yeah.
But going back to what you said earlier, we can be so involved in living our life, in our life, that we're not focused on the life, right? And so that's one of the things that's really beneficial if you can learn how to do that, to kind of take a step back and look at things, holistically and from a bigger picture. So, different way to do something with that piece of property, for example.
Yeah, and it also goes back to the mastermind thing. This was back before I was part of a large mastermind, and one of the things we do is we look at each other's assets and look at what do you own, what are you doing with your, how are you playing your game full out? And if I would have had that then, I think somebody would have come up with that.
Right, yeah, give a story.
Just the resources. Well, that's not too bad of a failure. We've heard worse.
We've definitely heard
For
worse.
sure.
Yeah, it's not too bad at all.
I'm like, that sounded like a missed opportunity,
Yeah.
actually.
I can't think of anything offhand where I really messed it up. So
That's good.
in a long time, let's say, knock on wood.
Right,
There you go.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
just doing too much good work.
Good
in
thing
that.
we're almost at the hour, because I could talk for pretty much all day about all the learning experiences I've had, and it's only Wednesday.
Yeah. Wednesday at 9.
There you go. I'm just talking this week.
Yes. Yeah.
But so, parting thoughts, Daniel. You've been a little quiet over there.
Well, I'm just taking it all in. The last thing he was saying about plussing things, I think that's a good analogy for what One Life Fully Live is. So if you walk in there and you say, look, I need help with my marriage, I need help with my finances, I need help with my job or my business, I need help with investing or knowing what to do with my money, or my whatever it is, right? There's gonna be somebody at that conference who's like killing it or crushing it in that area. Whether, health was an area that I needed help with, and so the group helped. So I think a good analogy, as Mark was saying, for this group is that they, most people can focus on one area and they do it really well, but this group will have you look at all aspects of your life and then actually try to plus one it and then get a written plan. And so I think that's unique in our world. It's unique out there. There's really I've never found another organization that does that. And so to get introduced to it for only $250 because of the coupon code,
Deal.
yeah, I think it's nuts. And I'm coming from a spot where had I had this in my 20s, I don't even know what my path would look like. So anyways.
And just to also highlight, I think plussing it sometimes also means minusing it, if that's a thing.
Absolutely.
But, I've learned that in order to do certain things really well, it's okay to say no and to take things away.
Absolutely.
And working with an accountability partner that has shown me, what are you saying no to this week?
Right.
And especially as young professionals, and I think as women, it's, I can do that too, just put it on the list, that's totally fine.
Well, and life has this funny way of having ebbs and flows where
Absolutely.
you're crushing it financially, but your health is not great,
Right.
or you're doing great things in your marriage, but work isn't awesome, you know. And so I think it's a good idea to just take a pause once in a while, spend a weekend, and say, you know, self-rate each of the categories in your life, and that is a missing thing in the world.
And along those lines, it's also a great thing to bring your family, bring your team, and help them along. This is a really good thing if you're listening to this and you have, let's say, a real estate team. Bring them, bring your employees, bring your kids. There's something there for everybody. We talked earlier about relationships, and I've got a friends, Pat and Sam, that wrote a book called Bigger Love, and they're speaking there, and this is all about having quality relationships. So it's not just another business conference. It's a dialing in the holistic best you can possibly be, and all your friends. So don't just come. Use that coupon code to bring your friends, your team.
What's the code again? Remind us.
One Life 1055. The number one Life 1055.
Great way to give back is
Yeah.
buy the conference for everybody.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, that's funny. My nephew's coming. He doesn't know it yet, but I'm
Breaking news.
Yeah,
You heard it
hopefully
first.
you're on right now, Ian. But I think it's a good, you know, he's in his 20s, he's in college, and, you know, there's some direction, but there's an opportunity to create, you know, more intention. And I think that's another beautiful thing that can happen at this conference for you.
Well, and that's a great time to start too, younger in life.
Oh my God.
Great time to start.
Yeah, I wish I would have listened to my mom back at 18 and got started then, and you know, kind of had 7 years of waste there.
That's
Who knows?
that's
That was the failure.
That's a life lesson.
There you
right
go.
Yeah.
So who's up next week? I'll tell you.
You tell me.
I will tell you. We have Josh Krells, our friend from
Josh,
Tri
yes.
Counties Bank.
Yep.
So I think we're going to actually be debating about the corporification of the country in America. We were talking about Amazon off the air, and we're going to be talking all about big business sort of taking over, and you know what that's doing for the country, good, bad, and otherwise, and how it's impacting business. So
From a banker's
riveting,
perspective.
from a banker's perspective, riveting topic.
Riveting.
Tune in.
You guys make sure you
It's an
tune in next
interesting
week.
one,
Yes.
actually.
Right.
If you want to get a hold of Katie and I, it's 996-784-7800 is our office number at Clifton Larson Allen. And we can
Alright.
answer any questions there. Thank you so much for being on the show, Tim, Daniel.
Yep.
Hey, this was
Again,
fun.
veteran. Everyone have a great week.
See you next week.
Boom.
Boom.
See you later, Facebook. Whoops.
Well, I hope
There we go.
that was good for you, and thank you so much for thank you for whoever canceled.
Yeah, how did that
The
work
universe
out?
works in mysterious ways.